Hi, it's Paul from globaltradingsoftware.com, and as the title says here, patience is golden. So I was in a trade today for 90 minutes with a slingshot, which is quite a long time really, but in reality I was able to take screenshots during that time because I was being very patient. And I want to talk through now the process in how I managed the trade. First of all, getting in the trade, then obviously taking that profit. So it was on gold for a start, and one of the things really want to talk about here is the guardian zones, and the link will be down the video, on the bottom of the video in the description here. So all of these different colours here means there's a very strong resistance zone, multiple time frames, a confluence of very strong resistance. If I look left, I did look left on the chart, and there's a lot more, and it did test there again this morning as well. So one of the things that really started to catch my eye here was we had a lower pivot here from this test. So the momentum started to go down. You can see that down at the bottom with the bias depth heat map going all green. Then we get a type 3 sell signal. So we don't take the type 1. Why? Two reasons. First, the bias depth heat map isn't all green. That's our first rule. The next rule, there's not enough fresh air to the resistance. So two of our main rules for getting in a trade with any type of strategy, especially the slingshot, aren't met. So we don't take the buy. What we do is take the trend failure, the type 3 trade, because we get the signal, we've got lots of fresh air down to the next support zone, and we've got all 6 time frames red there. So this is where the target has to be for our trade. Let's go to the next slide now. So we did find a little bit of short-term support at this recent pivot, which is normal, okay? Only short-term support. What we do find though is we have another pullback zone. This time it's a red zone. So these are fib overlaps, and it holds in that support zone. So for me, when it breaks down below this short-term support, we actually then adjust our stop just above this support and resistance zones, these pullback zones, okay, from the slingshot. That's reducing the risk. We're still not risk-free yet. It still needs to do a little bit more work. So once we push down through that, it actually disappears with the guardian zones because it failed another test. So that zone is now disappeared, but it comes back up to test this other one. This new short-term resistance this time is formed with the guardian zones, then starts to come back down below the entry. So we again just adjust the stop slightly just above this sort of resistance zone that's formed there. So again, very, very important to understand the behavior, and the guardian zones help you do that. They're support and resistance zones on multiple time frames. Right now we can just see the time frames on this particular native time frame, this 135 uni Renko. So now we start to manage the trade. So now we start to get the trading stop print from way back here, from that type 1 sell. Remember, we got the type 3 sell. It pulled back, we got a type 1 sell. It never broke the stop for that type 1 sell, and now it started to print the trading stop. So this is where we start to lock in some profit, being patient and waiting, understanding now we broke through, we come back to test. Now we've broken this pivot, so we've adjusted the stop here, but we broke this pivot, which is really important down here where my arrow is here. Once we break that pivot and we start to print the trailing stop, that's when we start to lock in profit, being very, very cautious. So now the trailing stop keeps getting printed. We keep adjusting that stop manually for our trade. I think we got around about $1,200 worth of profit locked in there, right there. So the next slide shows we just adjust it a little bit, but now we're getting a little bit of a green pullback. This could pull back here. We've got profit locked in. We're safe. We've got good profit locked in here with our trailing stop, following this trailing stop from this type 1 sell. Now all of a sudden we get a pullback zone for the slingshot. So now I've adjusted my stop from that trailing stop all the way back up above this zone. It's still below my entry. It's still locking in $600 worth of profit. But what I'm doing is allowing the trade to have room to pull back. Remember, these pullback zones that we have on the slingshot are very, very good. Just like in this previous one here, 85, 80, 75%. These are probability pullback zones. They're very, very strong. So we adjust the stop here. We're locking in some profit. We're not giving everything away, but what we're doing is allowing the trade a little bit of space to, in theory, run, because we only need one trade a day if we can get a runner. So now the next slide shows we're around about $3,000 profit here, and what I did was, once we broke this pivot that we initially saw that pull back into that next pullback zone, then we go to type 1 sell. Once it breaks this pivot, then I adjust the stop just above this pivot in the pullback zone. Very, very simple. The next one, really, for me, I started to approach that support zone, and there seemed to be quite a bit of momentum there. So one of the things I wanted to do was allow for more profit by going into the third target zone for this current type 1 sell. Now, remember, the probability pullback zones, it's an 85% probability in this first pullback zone to hitting this target 2, which is in that support zone. So, but there is a possibility it could push through, so I want to give it every chance. So what I did was adjust the take profit limit order down in the third target zone, down here. Now, once this next type 1 sell starts printing the trailing stop, I've adjusted the stop even more to lock more profit in. It's trying to test this support. I haven't got a crystal ball. I don't know if it's going to push through or not, but I'm giving the trade a chance. We've still got quite a lot of profit locked in there. Now it starts to pull back after hitting that target 2. You see how that support resistance zones disappeared because the guardian zones have taken it away, because it did push through, but then it's come back up again. So we adjusted the stop now. We've got take profit limit ordering, we've got some good profit locked in, and eventually took out the stop for realized profit $2,623. So a good trade. By understanding the behavior, using the guardian zones and the slingshot and that buy step heat map all together, we can actually maximize those profits consistently. Instead of trading 6, 7, 8 times a day, if we can just trade once, then we've removed the risk. We don't need to trade again. So hopefully this helps. Patience is definitely golden, and it's about understanding that behavior. One of the things I teach in my apprenticeship is about being patient and really understanding behavior, because if you can understand the behavior for markets, then you will be consistently profitable. So I'm going to put the links down below to the slingshot, the guardian zones, the buy step heat map. I'm going to put a link into the Expert Academy just in case you're interested in coming on our apprenticeship scheme.